What's good, YouTube? Stormybman, and I'm back with another video editorial. Before we get started, I'd like to say shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den Boxing Community, New Media, and Liberated Perspective, Third Eye View of the World. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. The title of this editorial is Elevation, boxing's newest ploy to implement class over superior talent. Once again, we are finding ourselves backed into a corner to discuss the obvious, where it doesn't matter what you do in the sport of boxing, it still remains all about class. And this is not about the level of class of a fighter. This is about ethnic class and stature in the community and our society. And it's ringing to the mountaintops in truth. This truth by the WBC we've seen before. I can go all the way back to 1988 when the WBC's champion at lightweight, Jose Luis Ramirez, who had previously suffered a couple of decision losses to the likes of Edwin Rosario and Hector Camacho, found a brash young fighter on his heels, gunning for a title shot. And that fighter was Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Ramirez, in a 15-round fight, edged out a split decision victory over Sweet Pea Whitaker, who was highly favored going in and was definitely the future of the division. But there was something at foot here, under the table, in the dark alleys and closets of the WBC. They had positioned Julio Cesar Chavez toward a future unification match with Ramirez, pitting Chavez's WBA World Lightweight title against Ramirez's title, looking to gain the advantage of having one champion. And this champion would be the face of the division going forward. Because Ramirez was closer to the end of his career, he started very young, in his teens. And Chavez was the young super featherweight coming up. The idea was to market the Mexican fighter in a manner of which they can promote fights for the next decade, with him as their golden child. Whitaker's split decision loss made him a victim of this elevation. You see, history does repeat itself. Now, the fighters I have featured in the photo, you have Canelo Alvarez and Vasily Lomachenko, two of the faces and names who are heavily being protected in the sport today. This is the example that they're following, because the WBC has elevated these gentlemen to a status that the other contending fighters cannot attain. This time, the WBC has made adjustments to their rulings. By elevating their fighters currently, these fighters can no longer lose their status, even if they were to lose a fight. How ridiculous is this? Devin Haney, who was high and hot on the heels of a challenge against Vasily Lomachenko, the fighter that they want to compare to greats of the past, can now not receive a match that will show just how good he is in the prospective division which he fights as a challenger for a lightweight title. Jermall Charlo, the same at middleweight, with Canelo having unified most of the belts, leaving the WBC, on the table so he wouldn't have to meet Charlo's challenge. This is disgraceful, people. Not only are fighters left out of matches that could be legacy-defining fights, but they're also left out of opportunities to make the type of purse that they actually sign up for in the fight game, where they seek legacy and also economic means of advancement. There is a pattern here. It's basically freezing out. Fighters who are accomplished and seeking opportunities at legacy-defining bouts as well as economic increase. The sanctioning body doesn't see it that way. Take Deontay Wilder, for example, WBC champion since 2015 with 9 title defenses. Why hasn't he been elevated? Along with Gary Russell Jr., the two of them are the WBC's longest tenured champions. Yet they haven't been elevated and have far more accomplishments on their records than the fighters who have been elevated. The pattern here is clear. They are seeking to protect investments and fighters that they want to have a face on the sport, instead of allowing these matters to be settled in the ring. It is being dictated by the sanctioning bodies, who increasingly are making themselves less and less of any value. My answer to seriously combat this situation: the very next unified champion that becomes undisputed or has the opportunity at undisputed should forge directly into that, secure those titles, and then throw them away after one title defense. One title defense of unification to make the affirmation that you are the man of that division. Throw those titles away. You carry the legacy and lineage of the sport as you go forward in your career. The sanctioning bodies are worthless. The fighters are of value. They are who we pay to see, not by controlled and manipulated machinations by these sanctioning bodies. If more of the boxing public knew what was happening, they would be furious. This is why the conversation needs to be had. We can change things, but it will take a collective effort. The sanctioning bodies are definitely on the ropes, and we need to deliver the knockout blow. Let's discuss this. What do you think? Can we get these fighters on board in unification matches for undisputed so they can do away with the sanctioning bodies? Let's talk about it. This is Stormybman. That's all I have for you at this time. Until the time we speak again, peace.